Hi folks, you're watching OutdoorsNB. I'm Jeremy. Today I'm going to talk about the gear that I use for cold water paddling. I primarily paddle on the Bay of Fundy between New Brunswick and Nova Scotia. Collections Canada has the Bay of Fundy at anywhere between 8 and 12 degrees at its warmest in the summer and 0 to 4 degrees Celsius in the wintertime. I've seen it slightly less than that. It is salt water, so it will go below zero before it freezes. Now, according to the University of Manitoba, a fellow by the name of Dr. Gordon Giesbright, as well Stanford University out in California, they define cold water somewhere in the range of 15 degrees Celsius and lower. So if you're paddling on a body of water that's in that range, consider some of the things that I'm going to talk about here in this video. To start with, good base layers are your synthetics and your wool. Technically anything that isn't a cotton or a cotton blend. Cotton fibers are hollow. They will hold water in and hold that water against your skin. That's great in the summertime when we're trying to keep cool, if we're working out, hiking, that sort of thing. Cotton layers are awesome. They will keep us cool. We don't want to keep cool in the wintertime. If we sweat, if we get water on our clothing, on our skin that we're paddling in, whether it be salt or fresh, that water is going to be held against our skin, and that's going to lead to an increase in both conductive and evaporative cooling just from the water that's against our skin. So we gravitate towards non-cotton blends and non-cotton materials such as wools and synthetics. My favorite two materials to wear are merino wool and a poly fleece. And that again is my preference. I gravitate more towards the poly fleece because it's softer. But merino wool is probably the best type of wool to use. It is the best type of wool to use insofar as comfort. The fibers are a lot finer and they're a lot softer because of that. So you get all the benefits of wool without all the itching. An option that you can use with the layers that I talked about is a dry top. Now, a dry top and a dry bottom in tandem are not going to keep you dry, because there is a seam at your waist. Depending on the brand and the model, you know, there are places for water to enter that whole system. But a dry top in tandem with a good cockpit skirt will keep you relatively dry, because you have latex gaskets at the neck, latex gaskets at the arm, and then create a seal in tandem with your neoprene skirt at your stomach, and the rest is inside of the boat. So that is one option. This is the Coquetet Rogue dry tops. So the Gore-Tex allows you to breathe and not to sweat as much, which can also lead to the creation of moisture in those layers. The other option that I use year-round on the Bay of Fundy, a complete dry suit. The benefit to the dry suit is if you do have to bail out of your boat, you're still going to stay dry. This does not make you warm, it makes you dry. The warmth comes again from the base layers that we discussed earlier. And the colder the water and the colder the air, the more base layers you're going to need to have on to stay warm. This will keep you dry. Now, Coquetet's line of dry suits is guaranteed not to leak. They have a whole program set up that if it does down the road, you can send it back to them. You got to pay to have it tested. You have to pay to have it shipped. They will repair it, but everything else you pay for it. If it's a catastrophic failure of the actual Gore-Tex where the layers have separated, delaminated, they will send you a new dry suit. So, dry suit, fully Gore-Tex, the Coquetet ones, but they do make other options as well. They're Hydrus and there's a couple different lines. But I like to push the Gore-Tex, their top of the line stuff. Not necessarily their most expensive suits. I gravitate towards this particular model, which has been updated since I bought this one. This is the Meridian. So it's kind of the workhorse of their entire fleet of dry suits. Gore-Tex, Cordura material on the wear areas. The new ones come complete, which I had to customize and have added in. They have a relief zipper in the front for the guys. They do make a drop seat in the back for the ladies. You can get, I mean, they make custom suits. We have people come in all the time, size people up to make a custom fit suit. But they will put a relief zip in a lady's suit if you want it. It's an extra cost to get custom fitted. And one of the very, very most important things to me on a dry suit, and it's something that you have to protect, are the socks that are integral to the actual dry suit. They are part of it that keeps water from coming up your legs. Having gaskets on your feet instead of socks, it's going to cut the circulation off somewhat to your feet. Your feet are going to go cold quicker. This keeps all the body heat inside of that dry suit and allows things to circulate a little bit better. We have to protect these though. Don't walk around without shoes over top of these socks. You'll punch a hole and then water will get into your dry suit. So always wear shoes with these, but this is the way to go. Highly recommend. Regardless of manufacturer material, if you have a dry suit, you're looking at dry suits, get integral socks that are attached from the factory, and these are Gore-Tex again. So that's my outer layer. The other option, depending again on water temperature, your comfort zone, and your abilities. For a base layer, you can have either a wetsuit or a Farmer John. The Farmer John has no sleeves. So how a wetsuit works is basically nitrogen bubbles in a material that hold a small layer of water against your skin. It allows your body to warm up that layer of water, and then that acts as part of your thermal protection. The issue I have with it, I started out using this is mine, this exact Farmer John with semi-dry, if you can imagine, Farmer John with semi-dry top and pants over top of that. And I was so uncomfortable doing a level 2 course off of Nova Scotia within that same temperature of water. This will lead to allow some evaporative cooling to happen. Water is going to be evaporating off of this suit, and that draws energy out of your body. But there is a measure of insulation with the neoprene itself. It also allows for convective cooling to a certain extent. You're having to heat that layer of water up. So that is still pulling energy out of your body, whereas you don't have to heat up anything against your skin with a dry suit and thermals. But it is a lot cheaper option and still very effective. Just in my opinion, it's not as comfortable as a dry suit with a thermal setup underneath. There are various options out there for thickness. The thicker, obviously, the more insulated value you're going to get. Divers that I know here on the Bay of Fundy use a wetsuit in the middle of February. It's just a lot thicker. The thicker these things get, the more constrictive they are. The harder time you're going to have rolling, the harder time you're going to have getting into your boat, because it's harder to move, because it's obviously very similar to wearing a rubber suit. So it constricts your body and your movements. That's the other benefit to the dry suit. One important thing to talk about with a wetsuit: it's only really effective when it's wet. So if you're going to wear the wetsuit as part of your thermal system, technically it should be your base layer, and then you should wear dry thermal stuff over top of that. The dry thermal stuff over top of that is going to keep you warm when you're dry. And then if you go in the water, that wetsuit will keep you warm after everything else gets wet. So over top of these layers, to protect my socks, I've gone from a level 6 Creek boot, which there are videos on the site here going through those boots and doing a review of them. I have now gone from wearing those out after 5 years, so they are a great product. Now I'm trying out a new manufacturer that we're now carrying, NRS, the Crush boot. Great little water shoe. They drain fairly well. They've got a couple of drain holes on the side here, and I like the way they look. They feel great. If you are thinking of getting the Crush from NRS, I suggest a half size bigger than what you wear. I ordered an 11, and it found with the wool socks plus the Gore-Tex socks on the suit that it was a little bit cramped in there. So go an extra size or a half size bigger, and it should be perfect. Over top of my base layer, I think it's law now in Canada, not only do you have to have a PFD, you have to have it on. I don't know why anybody wouldn't wear it. We're not in 1969 anymore where that's not cool to wear PFD. This is one of the most comfortable PFDs that I've worn. Granted, it's one of the most expensive ones that we carry. It is the Kokatat Maximus Centurion, so it's a rescue vest. Not only is it a PFD, but it's also got some rescue features on it. Integral harness inside of the PFD that comes out to the outside here. So if you have safety equipment, I want you to think about this. If you capsize and get separated from your boat, if all that safety equipment is in your glove compartment on the front of your boat or somewhere in your boat, how is that helping you? I have on my person a lot of the basic stuff that I'm going to need just in case I ever do get separated from my kayak. So inside of one of these pockets, I've got a garbage bag, which acts as an awesome windbreaker. If you get somebody that gets cold, somebody maybe if you're in a group of people and maybe somebody isn't quite dressed for the conditions and they get wet, you can pop that on them and that's going to prevent the evaporative cooling from happening. It's going to prevent that water from evaporating and it's going to help hold body heat in. The other two things that are very critical for cold water paddling. You want to have something over your head so you retain your body heat. It's not going to be lost out through your head. Either a neoprene hood or a toque. A lot of people wear a toque. If you're not doing stuff that's a little more technical, then a toque is fine. If you're going to do technical stuff where you think you're going to be in the water, then neoprene hood is much better. The other thing is having a dunk kit. If something happens, if you do heed my advice and you're wearing a wetsuit or a dry suit, more so a dry suit, wetsuit you're going to be wet anyway. But if you're wearing a dry suit and something happens to the dry suit and you do get water in there, a dunk kit is essentially a change of clothes with a windbreaker, pants and bottoms as well. So you get your thermals, you get your windbreaker over top of that so you can get out of the wet stuff and get into some dry stuff on land fairly quickly. And that's very crucial. We paddle on the Bay of Fundy year-round in January, February, March. So if you have any questions about anything that I've talked about here, feel free to contact me. Thank you very much for clicking on this video. If you watch it and you like what you've seen, please subscribe to our channel. We're putting videos like this up all the time. Destinations on the Bay of Fundy. We're also putting gear reviews of stuff that I personally use and products that I feel are of a high quality and worthy of your money. If you like what you see here, subscribe to the channel, give us a like, and check out our Instagram feed as well. Thank you again for watching, and again, if you like what you see, please subscribe to the channel. Thank you.